I'm going to pick up a copy. I'm going to watch to start with.
So Tina, I'm actually in Dotloop. In EDGE right now. And I went to my transactions. And what I've done is I've set up just like a test loop, and I called it 102 East Arlington. So in your case, the first thing you want to do is you would create a loop. And there's always 4 steps to that loop. But if you do them this way, you'll find that your forms and your screen sheet will kind of pre-populate. So the first thing you want to do is name your loop. And I know sometimes you're working with buyers and you might not really know, you don't have an address to name it.
No.
So probably the first thing you would do is name it your buyer's name. You can always go back in once you find them a home and you know what they're going to put an offer in, and then you can change it to that address.
Okay.
But at the beginning, you're probably just going to name it after your client. Because the first 2 documents you're going to have is working with real estate agents, right?
Mhm.
And exclusive buyer agency agreement. Okay. So what I've gone ahead and done is named my loop, and I named it 102 East Arlington. And see how it says private right here?
Mhm.
That's one thing I'm going to show you how to fix too. So we're going to go in. And then the second thing you want to do is add people. So down here, where it says people,
Right.
if you're the agent, you would be where it says Lisa Collins.
Mhm.
But you want to add your clients right here. Another thing you might want to do is add, if you know what mortgage company you're going to use, you can add your mortgage broker. You can add the co-list agent. There's a lot of people you can do. So let's go ahead and add a person. And in my instance, I'm going to add Jennifer because if she gets any weird emails, she'll know I'm not. So.
This is for Lori. This is a man that I would not deal with buying a house for anything.
Okay.
He refuses to use a buyer's agent. He's got a finance major and a lawyer involved buying his house. And
And you're going to select the role. And in this case, we're going to put that she's the buyer. Okay.
Oh, goodness.
And then
Just 1 minute.
you can click this box right here. I'm sorry. That says send intro email.
Lisa, I wanted to take notes on your step-by-step. Did you just start looking at your book?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Would you mind? I took notes.
No.
Can you wait a minute?
Absolutely not. Julie, the main thing is those 4 steps right there.
Oh,
When you start a loop, if you start it that way, it'll really help you. You can just write those steps down there. Is this, Tina, is this boring to you? Do you already know this kind of
No, it's not.
oh, we don't know anything.
I
You don't
got,
know anything?
no, I got some of it in there. I got,
We only know what we've seen on video.
Okay.
Hi, I didn't be here. So, Lisa, you said it's 4 steps.
Right, and I've got them written up there.
And we won't be bored because neither one, we're both
So,
walking in the dark.
I'll go over it again. So the first thing you want to do when
Do I
you're
need to write this down first?
yeah, those are, and just keep, to me, I keep that posted up somewhere in my office. And I don't really do this stuff in Dotloop, but I like to train some of the new agents sometimes. So I find that these steps are really helpful.
And for Jennifer, it will be good because agents might ask her, but yeah, assume that Tina and I know nothing because we don't.
Okay.
Choices. And so, like, somebody that knows absolutely nothing, you're not going to bore us because we know nothing.
Okay. All right. So what I was telling Tina
Oh, I
is,
thought that's okay.
let's say you're working with a buyer.
Mhm.
So you have no idea what home they're going to buy or anything. So when you go to name the loop, what are you going to name it? I suggested that you name it after your buyer.
To
And
start
then-
with.
To start with, right. But at some point, you're gonna go back in and you're gonna rename the loop. And I'll
Like
show you
as the
guys how to
address?
do that. Once you get,
Okay.
once they put an offer in on a house, then you're gonna change it to that address. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is name the loop. And then right now, we're only on step 2 where you add the people.
Okay.
So what I've done in this case is just, I set up like a dummy loop, but I'm adding Jennifer as the buyer.
Now, Lisa, to get to the loop,
Mhm.
you went into E-Edge and then you put new transaction.
There's a lot, you can just go to my transactions, or you can,
Well, is that how you got to the loop?
Mhm.
Because I only know one way, so if there's multiple ways, I'm unaware of it.
no, there's only one way.
Okay, so I go into my transactions, and I remember you showed me some about .loop, and I didn't retain it very well because it was my first day. And so, and I didn't take notes, which was my fault. And so,
Now's your chance to review.
yeah. So, I recall that, I'm trying to remember when you.
That's, my email address is wrong.
Okay.
She got an extra D in there. Just take that D out. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. So we're going in, and when we're creating a loop, what are we hitting to create the loop? Like, is it?
Here, I'll go, okay.
You're far from boring us, you're thrilling us.
This is.
Okay, there's, a couple,
Okay, now,
Right now, it's
how
on-
did you get to the loops? That's my question. So you're in loops. So how do I get to the point where I create my new loops? My loop is like such a mess. It's
okay, so in my case, you guys would do this, but you'd be on my business.
okay, so on the ES control panel,
You just click right here.
I trip on my office.
See, mine looks a little different than yours because I'm the MCA, but over
Okay.
here where it has
Yours
office
is mine.
transactions, if you hit that little plus, it would say, new transaction or,
Okay, ours says my transaction.
yeah.
So
you
it's
just
there,
go.
okay.
So I'm gonna go here.
Yeah. Okay, now you're at loops. You've not
Now,
yet created.
sometimes loops will look different. You can do it like a grid pattern to this whole thing right here. And it will look like that. But I have it to this, like a list. You can have it either way.
So you did it by
It just
address?
changes, like, no, but
There's a grid markup.
there's a grid.
Oh, so I choose one of those 4 buttons? Is that what you're saying?
Like this. See right here on my computer?
Uh-huh,
Right there, I click on it. Yeah, switch
It'll
that.
change it. It looks like this,
uh-huh.
or what it's saying is it will just list out the different loops. Right now, it just looks like a picture with an address in it. See this?
Uh-huh.
Instead of it being like a pictures, it's gonna just have a list of all the transactions of all my loops.
Oh, that's just personal preference.
Okay.
Yeah,
Rather
it's
see
just
your-
how you like to see it. Okay, so mine isn't a list tab like this. It's just listing everything out.
And are you gonna create a whole new loop to show? Okay, great.
So I've already, so the first thing you're gonna do is you're going to start a new loop.
So that's clicking on the loop icon? Would that be correct?
Here you go, create a loop. That's the first thing you do, click that one button right there.
Right.
I'll just go ahead and start it. Once you name the loop.
Okay.
Like I'm saying, if you're working with buyers,
Okay.
then you wouldn't. You probably just name it after your buyer.
Okay.
Okay. I've already done this stuff, so. So I've named the loop. Here it is.
Please, can I ask a question?
Sure.
My understanding is you want us to, I guess if they don't have a property picked out yet, if it's not a listing, you could put it as their last name, but then after you've got it under contract, you change it to the
Yes.
property address.
Exactly. Mhm.
so that.
Yeah,
you
and
know
I'll show
what
you guys how, I'll show you guys how to do that in a second. So the second, so that's the first step is name the loop. Your second step is add people. So there's a lot of things you can add. I just started to add my buyer. So let's go ahead and click this button, add person. And I'm going to add Jennifer as the buyer.
I didn't know I was able to do house today.
And I'm going to add her email. You always have to have an email. And you're going to select a role for that person. And I'm going to click her as the buyer. Now, did you see all the different roles? These are all the different things you can add in here. Look at all of this. You can add your loan officer, inspector, warranty rep, your attorneys. It's just, and then,
These all
you know,
people that can access the loop.
yeah, when you, then you can give them certain rights to like what they can see in the loop. Okay, and then you can select to send her an intro email. I don't really know what that looks like. I guess we could like log into Jennifer's email and see what it looks like. But you can just say, looking and then you add your person. Okay, so you can just keep doing that as so many people as you want to add. Now, of course, Judy and I, right here, are all, well, the admin people are always here. They always have access to everything that you have about them. So the second thing you want to do is edit details, and this is really important. I think a lot of people skip this, because what this does is once you put all this information in, it pre-populates all your forms, and it helps you with your green sheet too. Okay. So we're going to change this to active. You don't know how many times I look at a loop and they're all private. They shouldn't be private. They should, you know, they should be. If you're actively working with someone, they should be active. If you've gotten something under contract, you should mark it under contract. If it's sold, you should mark it sold. I'm going to mark it active. I'm going to select the transaction type, sell or purchase. And I'm not really sure about this. Use property address. I guess if you clicked on that, it would just use the property address that you have up there. Or you could just custom name it.
Is that because if it's a buyer or seller, then it will pre-populate the forms that go with it?
What's that again?
So say, for example, it was a buyer or a seller, and you use the address, would that be to pre-populate the forms
Yes.
for you?
Okay, now down here, you can add an MLS number. That's always helpful to have those kind of things. If you did that, you're going to add your street number. We're going to put 102. We're going to add our street name. We have a suite, city. And I don't, it seems like this should be populated, because of course I'm always in North Carolina. If you had the purchase price, you could add that. Let's go ahead and say Jennifer buying the house first.
Yeah. I hear you, kiddo.
No, I mean, really.
I didn't know how to.
Let's say she's giving us $1,000 earnest money.
I do too, apparently.
The contract date we'll put is the 20th. The closing date, we're gonna put,
Oh, that's a quick closing.
isn't it? Maybe it should.
Must be a cash
Let's be
deal.
realistic.
It's totally cash deal.
Man, they pay you real well.
$350,000 house, I pay cash money.
I guess the expiration date would only, I guess, only be there for like, if it was like a listing, I think, you know, listing. Closing entity, let's put. Of course, we would put movement mortgage. Of course not. And of course, we're gonna have Karen.
What is transaction number?
I'm not sure. Where do you even see that?
Right, below.
Under contract.
That transaction. I'm not sure why we would have that.
Some people may give their files, you know, some kind of number. I
But do
guess.
you see all the information you can put in here?
Right.
You can even put referral, home warranty. The more stuff you have in here, the more your forms are going to pre-populate. Oops. Someone's in the backspace. Okay. Now let's hit our save button. And now we're gonna go to the green sheet. And when do you guys do a green sheet?
When you run, after you get the contract right
Right.
up.
I've had a lot of people, once they put in a listing, they think they need to do the green sheet. No, you don't do a green sheet until you've got something under contract. Then you start your green sheet. You should do it right away, even if you think it's gonna terminate. Okay? Because we like to track those things. We like to track why things are terminating. Okay? So let's submit green sheet. See how it's got everything in here now?
So once you fill that side out, it'll automatically merge to the green sheet,
Right.
and then I'll get them submitted.
And the more information you put in when you create a loop, the better off you're gonna be, because all that information is
Plus-
populated.
All of this is gonna populate in your forms also that you have. Okay? Now, Julie, I didn't give you this stuff. Let me bring it to you. We have, what you need when you have a listing, what you need when you have a buyer, and this is the order that the forms are in. Okay. So I didn't go over adding forms because that's,
I would like you to go over that because I was really confused by that, so I added every form that existed, so I looked at every form there is. Because I did, I had to kind of just figure it out.
okay, well, that list I gave you really but that's the same exact order that we have to keep up.
Okay, because when I went in to find forms, what I noticed was that, the buyer forms didn't have all of the forms that was on the list, and the listing form didn't have all the forms when I did it by buyer or seller. And so then I didn't know which ones are her, because I had no frame of reference and nobody told me. So I just downloaded everything and figured out I'd do it as I went, because I had no clue. So it's good that like new agents might get this information before they write the transaction, but getting it after, is okay. It's happening today. But, so I had difficulty because I could choose to open a buyer transaction, or I could choose to open a listing transaction. And then I had to figure out how to get to that point to choose those forms, and I had difficulty. So even though that's really minor to you, somebody who has absolutely no frame of reference, has never done eLoop, it will probably be helpful. Tina may have mastered it, I have not.
So this is the order that they're in,
Exactly.
and then this is what you need. So
And where am I finding them?
After we do the green sheet, I'll show you the big can. So I'm going to flip back and forth right now. So let's see. Here we go. Okay, so as you can see, it has pre-populated these fields from when I edited the details. Okay, so the one thing, everything in red, you have to fill in. Okay, so the places in red that aren't filled in, we're going to go ahead and change them. So this is, of course, a property. Property type, click on the down arrow. Let's say it's a resale. Okay. You can see all your choices. You have new home, lot, farm, or ranch. And this button would only be if it's like some kind of distressed property. And then you can put how you found your buyer. I mean, this is not, you don't have to put this, but while you're here, if you want to, let's just say you got from an open house. It would be really nice to put the MLS number. We'll just make one up. And why didn't that populate? Okay, and you could also put the subdivision if you had that.
Okay, you just hit escrow.
you just went
But I
to
just
that
went to
section.
Oh, just the next section will automatically tell me.
It's not your keyboard, you're used to yours. It's probably throwing you off a little bit.
And then plus I'm cleaning.
So if we tried to get it higher for you, but the only way we could do it was to put a box up there.
You know, I don't know why I didn't pre-populate the sales price, but it's going to put that back in
So if it's the Keller Williams list, we hold there as much, right?
there.
And
Yeah, but we're pretending this is a buyer, a buying transaction.
right, I'm buying this house.
So, if you're getting a percentage, a straight percentage rate, you would click this button. If for some reason you're getting other than a straight percentage rate, you would put a flat. If you put a flat, then it lets you put that amount in there. Okay, if you have a like this, just say you're getting 3%, it's going to just go ahead and calculate that percentage for us. I hit the tab key. See that?
What about a bonus, if you get a bonus?
If you get a bonus, there is a place down here for that. I'll show you that. So the next section is your buyer information. It pre-populated that for me. Next section, seller. Shooting hard. Come on, what's your $150,000?
And I would have $350,000 with 18.
Now, this is the catch party. Every time I hit next section, it just takes me down. If you ever want to go back to something, you can always go back up if you needed to for some reason. And then you see all these different pages. This is, and believe me, sometimes I've had some green sheets that are doozers. Like, there must be 8 people on them. In that case, this is where all these other pages are for. It's for you to add more agents if you need to, okay? But right now, since I'm doing the green sheet, it's pre-populated my name in here. If you need to add someone else, like let's say you're splitting this transaction with someone, you type in their last name, hit the search button. Let's just say I'm gonna split this transaction with Alan. right here is asking for my agent role. The only time you don't put individual agent is if you're on a team. So you just click individual agent. The type. Working with the buyer, so it's
What is insight mean?
we don't use that. I think some market centers do. Like if you were doing some kind of inside referral, but we don't do it that way. If you're actually going to give someone in the office a referral, we just have you add them on as an agent, be your team.
So Lisa, no matter if they're actually on a team, they're still an individual agent.
No, if they're on a team and they would have specific roles, then you would assign that.
Because Alan's on a team.
Right, but I'm just
just
using,
wondering.
yeah, I'm just using him as a.
Well, Lisa, do you use that lead agent and all that because you've already got it set up what their split is, or do they still designate?
No, they would
So it's just
information.
information.
It's just an information thing.
Just-
You know, like if you had someone on a real team like that, they're constant, they're only working with buyers. You would put them as a buyer specialist.
Or listing specialist.
Yeah. And here we're working with the buyer. And then as you can see, it only has the sales unit open. And it only has the sales unit open because we told it in the general information that it was a buyer sale. Okay?
So what you
Right here, you can put anything in this field as long as it equals 1 unit. So do you understand? Okay, since I put me and Alan on there, I can put 0.75 for me, and I can put 0.25 for Alan.
Oh,
It has to equal 1 unit. Or I could do 0.64 and 0.40.
So do you need a green sheet? Like, just example, I took a listing, then I sold my listing. So should I have a green sheet for my, when I took the listing and a green sheet for my sale, or only for my sale?
No. Oh, you don't start a green sheet just because you have a listing. You start the green sheet when you get your listing under contract.
Okay, so I should have done this, I just didn't know.
You've already got a contract on your listing.
I do.
Yeah, then we can go through.
Okay, I had
we
no
could
clue I was
actually
supposed to do this.
we could actually log on as you if you want to, and really do a real one if you want to. That's without.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, you can put 0.50, 0.50, but you guys get the point here. This unit has to equal 1. But you can do anything in here you want to.
If you had a listing and Alan had a sale, each one would be 1, because it would equal 2, right? Because there's only 1 green sheet.
Right now, if
You got those
If
sides.
if we had both sides, if we had the listing and we had the buy, even if it was Tina and Julie, let's say it was Tina's listing, but Julie brought the buyer. We only want 1 green sheet, and we want the green sheet from the listing agent because you're the one who has the listing in KWLS. So we would want you to do the green sheet.
The listing.
Yeah.
So for
And-
example, since I listed my listing and I sold my listing myself, then I just do it once.
Yes. And what you're going to do, Julie, is you would put yourself as agent A
Okay.
and agent B. You have to put your name in there twice.
Oh, I do?
And isn't it 1 unit on both?
Yes.
So
because
that's the time you
considered,
have 2 units. is
that's
it?
considered 2 units because you have both the listing side and the buy side. That counts as 2 units.
But like if you were selling me Alan's listing, and he was agent B, there would be a 1 and a 1. Is that correct? Okay.
Mhm.
I'm just making sure.
Yeah.
Now, if it's another company,
Uh-huh.
I sold one of Prudential's property.
Mhm.
What, I just put one on this side.
You would only, it would only be 1 unit,
Uh-huh.
and if you're not having, if you're not sharing that commission with anyone else, you would only be one agent A. But all that would be on the bridge is agent A.
And like if I'm doing, somebody refer me something here, and when I get that finalized, then it'll go back
Now-
to me.
Okay, so you can see the system, the green sheet has completely figured out what the commission is here by the unit values,
Right.
okay? And then down here, if you had an outside referral that you were paying, this is where you would put that information right here.
So like if somebody from Prudential actually gave you, or somebody from another marketing or something gave you a referral.
Right.
If somebody sent you this buyer,
Right. And
this is where you put their information right
their information, but inside there, of course, you get
there. You want me to go ahead and show you what that looks like? I don't want to get it too.
No, I'm okay.
You're okay?
Yeah.
Okay. This is where you would put if you're getting a bonus. Remember Tina asked you if you're getting a bonus, this is where that would go right here.
Mhm.
And you can put 500 right here. Now, of course, your split is not going to be 100% unless you're capped. What is it? It's 70. And if I hit my tab key, do you see how that's changed?
So you gotta
you
change it up there,
But where,
the little drop box, 100% age. You gotta change that.
That's for the bonus, right?
No. Split with MC or 100% age.
is.
Got such
with
split.
market- Yeah, you're right. Split with market center. Okay. Now down here, you want to say, are you capped on royalty, yes or no? If you say yes, it's not going to take the 6%. So you want to say, no. I'm sorry. I'm going to say no, you're not capped. And then you come up to this little figure right here. This is what your check should look like from me. This is what would be on your 1099. Unless you're going to give money to KW Cares. You do not have to give money to KW Cares, but you cannot leave these fields blank. You have to put something here if it's a 0 or whatever, okay? But let's just say, I'm being generous. Put you could add your co-broker information if you want to, or vendors. This would be like mortgage people. You can write little notes to me if you wanted to. If you had put something up here in the referral percentage, there would be a place at the bottom for you to put the referral information. And it's real important that you guys get a W-9. When our market center is having to pay a referral out to another company, we have to get a W-9 from them.
What's a W?
It has their tax ID information on it. Because at the end of the year, we have to send them a 1099. And we can get fined by the IRS if we send the wrong information on the 1099. So,
So where's this 1099 information, but go?
I mean, if I were to put here that Tina's paying 25% referral, I'll show you down at the bottom. Now it's going to show, it's going to let me put in referral information.
Click OK up there.
Okay, see, now it lets me put it in.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and you would select, you would put the company that we're paying the referral to, the agent that's paying the referral,
So when
it's
it's,
agent A. It puts, this is the information, see how it's asking for the tax ID number?
so they can give us that over the phone, they have to email it to us.
A lot of times, if you guys can't get it, if you have at least a referral form and you have uploaded it to Dotloop, then I can usually, especially if it's like another Keller Williams office, I can easily call and get that from them. But I like to, we provide all this stuff to you guys, and so when you are when you're getting paid a referral from another office, I always want you guys to be good about going ahead and sending that W-9 to that office right away. I have them uploaded to the intranet. In the other office, we actually had it up on the bulletin board. But I can show you what it looks like.
And it shouldn't be verbal, Tina.
Oh,
It should be a design form, which is specifically that,
oh,
because we have obligations to the IRS.
right.
And that W-9 fulfills those.
Oh, okay, thanks.
You should have a referral form, because if you don't, then you're gonna get burned again.
Right. You need to have a referral form, and when you get that, just go ahead and ask for that W-9 right away. Because a lot of times I'm scrabbling, when you guys have it closed, and I'm scrambling around at that point trying to get a W-9 from the other office. Okay. Anybody have any questions? Okay. And at the very end, I'm going to go ahead and remove this referral. And I'm going to, at the very end, when you're completely done, you're going to hit submit to MCA. And then right here, you're just going to hit submit green sheet. And when you're done, at the very top of your screen, it should say partially accepted. And that's what you want to see. That means you've done everything correct. Okay? And then if you want to see what your dashboard looks like, you can go right here. And it should be accepted. You click on the accepted button, you'll see where your green sheet is. There it is. Okay. And every single green sheet you do is saved in here, so you will always have access to anything. If you think you submitted a green sheet to me and I'm telling you no, I don't have it, it could be in here, initiated, which means you've done everything, but you didn't actually hit the submit button. Okay? And then once I have accepted it and assigned it a DA number, it goes over here to this thing, DA created. So any closings you've already had will be in that area right there. DA created. Any questions? Okay. And then sometimes I will return them to you. Usually it's because you've forgotten you've already done one. And so I've had people like do green sheets, like I'm not trying to say they've done the same green sheet more than once. So I've noticed it and I've returned it to them.
Okay, so you had mentioned that you can do it when it's under contract, and then you also mentioned you were working with a buyer, but that person is not yet under contract, and you were doing the example of person making a green sheet for that person.
What I was doing was just creating a loop. I wasn't doing anything.
Oh, okay, you're supposed to create a loop, but the loop is not created until it's under contract. Except for a listing.
No. A loop is started right away when you're either got a listing or if you're working with a buyer.
The green sheet's about commission, the green money, it's about commission.
Okay.
And you don't get a commission for listing, you don't get a commission until you go to contract. You possibly will get one in if it goes through. So that's a good way to remember it, isn't it?
Yes.
Green sheet's about money.
Green sheet is only when you've gotten something under contract.
Okay, but the loops have various uses.
Right.
Okay.
A loop is when you're working with a buyer or you've got a listing. Got it. Okay. All right. So we can try to do one other green sheet if you'd like to. I can, and then there's several ways to get to green sheets. We went through dot loop. Like let's just say you were on My KW and you wanted to do a green sheet. You can go under technology right here. Just go down to the green sheet. And you would say, create a green sheet. It's going to ask you a couple of questions. Are you the listing agent? Either yes or no.
If it's no, you don't fill it out, right? I mean, the listing agent fills it out. No.
The listing agent.
Well, I mean, unless it's a cross sale. I'm sorry.
Okay, so I would like to show you what a green sheet that's both a listing and a sale. I would like to show you that, but in order for me to do that, I would actually have to go into somebody's listing and
Well, you can do mine.
do yours. Okay. Now it's still going to ask me, is this a Keller Williams listing?
Yes, it
And
is.
we're going to say yes, it is. And I'm going to look for
Do you want my listing number?
gun, right?
Do you need the listing number?
Do you know it?
114147.
114147.
Street is 736.
And we'll just hit search.
Oh, okay.
Oops, I should have clicked my markings apparently. Here it is. So what we're going to do is just click on that.
Okay.
This is your listing. So at the very bottom, you're going to click green sheet.
Okay. Contract date 6/20. Or no, 6/19, I apologize. 7/22 or 7/23. Or no, 7/22. Sorry.
Okay, right here. This is what's, it's both a
Oh.
listing and a sale because Julie's double-sided it. Okay? We're going to click that button. Of course, it's a property. The only time you would put anything other than property, a lot of people were getting paid on leases, but other. And that would be if you have a referral coming in.
Okay.
When you know you're getting a referral, you should also do a green sheet for those two.
Okay.
And I'll show you one of those in a second. So property. We know this is a resale. And it's already got her address probably in there, of course. And click the next section. And the earnest money would be held by Keller Williams because our listing.
Correct.
Which reminds me, have you given me the earnest money?
I did.
Oh, you did, that's
Yeah, I
right.
handed it to you and you gave
How
me your
much?
receipt.
How much do we have?
We have 500 in due diligence and 500 in earnest.
Okay, so we just put 500. Because due diligence goes straight to the listing, seller.
Right. 163.45.
163, 4.
50.
You get a percentage or a flat rate?
Percentage. And it's 4.5 total because I sold it myself, so we negotiated a little bit.
Okay, so what are you getting on the listing side?
2.5.
You're getting 4.5 total.
Right. So,
We'll
however
put
you want it to
we'll
be.
put 2 on the listing side. And we'll put 2.5 on the buyer side.
Okay.
Okay? That's 4.5 total.
Okay.
We're going to click next section. This is the buyer. Who's your buyer, Julie?
Dana, D-A-N-A. And Alamagor, but I can look it up.
It's okay.
A-L-A-M-E-G-O-R.
A-L-A-M-G-O-R.
I think that's right.
Okay.
I'm the seller.
Now, it's not me in there because I'm the one doing the green sheet. I'm going to go ahead and change it. And we're also going to add Julie over here. Because we have, what did I say, guys? We have 2 units.
Oops.
Julie is an individual agent. Now type over here, we're going to put listing on this side. We're going to put buyer still over here.
Okay.
Okay, so the agency, she's dual.
I'm actually a sub-agent to the seller. but if that's not a choice, because Judy explained that.
Can't be a dual agent, you can't work for a buyer and be yourself. You can't serve two masters, you have to be a sub.
Because I put myself down as a dual
Alright, but
agent,
as,
and then it got correct.
as far as this system's concerned, we have both sides, so. Do you know what I'm saying?
If they're not, what would be the other choice? Judy, do you know how that would get filled in?
Would it be at
Well, she could put seller.
No, she doesn't have buyer agency. I mean, how important is this? I don't know what you're using it for.
Well, when you, this thing is just thinking, okay, if this is a listing, who is the agent?
I'm
Who's
confused.
the
Actually, not a
agent
dual agent.
representing right here?
Well, I thought I was a dual agent, but then
You
Julie
are?
explained to me I wasn't.
This is a whole different conversation, but I don't understand how she's not a dual agent.
Because Judy told me I wasn't.
To be a dual agent, you have to represent the buyer, and
So
then you're a dual agent. You can't represent the buyer when you're selling them your own property.
She's selling her own, this is her own property.
How can you represent a buyer when you are the seller and you have all your relation and everything tied up in it?
Okay, and, but let's, for learning purposes, if this were not Julie's home and she was both the listing and the seller on this property,
And it
you
would look
would
like
put dual,
dual,
okay?
okay.
She's gonna get one whole unit value on both sides. And it's calculated what the 2% would be on the listing side and what the 2.5% would be on the buyer side. Okay? She doesn't have any outside referrals. She's 70/70. She's not cash. And Julie, what do you want to do here? I'll put zeros.
Yeah.
Now, I'm just hitting the tab key, and that's a really easy way to go down. You don't have to hit the next section. You just hit the tab key, and that gets you through this stuff. And so, I'm going to hit submit to NCA. Submit green sheet. And again, we should get a partially accepted. So that actually comes to me, I get an email saying that I have.
So is my green sheet done now?
It's done.
All right.
Right. And I told you guys I would show you what referral looks like. Let's go ahead and do a green sheet on a referral. Are you the listing agent? No, I'm not. This is the Keller Williams listing. No, it's not. This stuff is not that important. Like, I mean, if you knew the date that that property sold, you could put that in there. But on a referral, it's just not that important. Let's just put today's date. Let's say I got the check today. Your MCA came to you and says, I have a referral check for you. So what you have to do is do a green sheet. Type is O for other, okay? The class, you still put referral. How do you type you're gonna put, and whether it was a new home or lot or resale that you got. Let's say it was a resale. If you have the street information on the referral, you could go ahead and put that in. If you don't, just put the company's address there. I don't care. Okay. But you can't, as you can see, this is all in red, so you can't leave it blank or it won't take it. It's, Anybody know what the zip codes are roughly? The sales price, what you actually put in here is, if you know the price of the house, you can put it. If you don't, just make something up. And let's just say you're getting a flat. Why is it giving me this? I guess because it doesn't it doesn't know if you're getting this on the listing side or the commission
When you
side.
put it in one, maybe it'll gray out in the other.
Okay, let's just say your check is for $12.50. I'm an individual agent. It's not even giving you choices, clicking other, which is good. I'm going to put other here too.
So usually a referral is a percentage. Well, that's my experience. So would it calculate that for you, or would we need to? Do you mind clicking on the percentage, and I'm just curious. Okay, so if you refer to listing and you put in 25%.
So you're only getting 25% of your 3%.
Right.
So you're only getting a flat percentage here.
So it would probably be best for us to calculate it and put it in there flat.
If you know what the GCI is going to be on this, let's just use this for a calculator. I'm going to put 3%.
Mm-hmm.
It's $3.90. So what you would put here,
It's $3.90 and 20%.
3,900.
And then it would calculate at 20.
25%.
Okay, gotcha.
That's what you're getting right there.
Okay.
Okay.
Would that be easiest for you, or would you rather us do it on flat and calculate it and put it in there, or does it matter?
It doesn't matter. It's only going to let you put this. And then right here, we're going to change this to 70. And you're not counting. And that's what your 1099 is going to be right there. So you're not going to put anything for the listing or sales unit. You're just going to put in your gross commission right there. Okay? Anybody have any questions? All right. And like I said, you can't leave these blanks. I'm just going to put zeros.
You're gonna put in at least $5 for KWCares.
That's okay.
I mean,
Okay. And
What's
then
that?
I'm not gonna submit this.
how about $1?
I don't want to get a bunch of fraudulent green cheese. I'm just gonna cancel. All right. That's about it. Does anybody have any questions on green cheese?
That was helpful, thanks.
All right. So, Julie, you wanted to see what it looks like to add the forms, right?
Yes, because I did it visibly. I was trying to figure it
I might need some help from some of the agents from the office. But what you're gonna do is click right here, add form. We're working with a buyer.
Okay.
Okay. And I gave you guys, Warren, you want to copy this stuff? What is it? Like what order the forms are in and adopted? Do you have this covered up?
Yeah, but that's why I didn't know what was required, so I just downloaded everything, and then I figured whatever was required, I had to figure it out, so I had no list.
Oh, this is confusing.
Yeah, that's the order that I think we don't need to.
This would be a really good thing to get like new agents if they had the offer they needed, because they would know for.
So she gave one of them.
And if
Oh, that one.
I just like that. All right, so I clicked add form, and it wasn't if you're adding forms from your computer or the templates. The only time you would add forms from your computer is if your client didn't want to work on Dotloop and things got sent back and forth, and you only have it saved on your computer.
Or if you have an addendum drawn up out of term.
There you go.
I mean,
So
something that-
right here, we're going to click templates. And this is where you go and you find your forms.
So my problem that I had is when I went on KW buyer forms or KW listing forms, it wasn't all inclusive. Or at least I didn't think it was, and I could be wrong, which is totally possible.
Okay, now we do have these set up right here. We have forms that, when you're working with a buyer, we already have them pre-selected in here, so you can click on right here.
Okay,
Okay, now, you're always going to have that form.
right,
You're always going to have this when you're working with a buyer.
right.
Here's your offer to purchase. Here's your offer to purchase. So if I were to click on all of these, they're going to pre-populate. Can you guys think of anything else you need when you're working with a buyer?
You're gonna
That you
need-
suggest we add to this?
You're gonna need the,
What?
You're gonna need the disclosure, the listing agent's disclosure that the buyer has to sign.
that comes from the listing agent.
Mhm.
You just add that in as an offer.
Mhm.
And then you're gonna,
Form for inspection.
That would be the professional services disclosure, would
Yes.
probably be a good one.
That would be a good one to add to this. Can somebody write that down for me?
Okay, so add to buyer sign.
Then you're gonna need the.
And that's what happened to me, is I went, wait, there's more stuff, but I wasn't positive what it was, so that's when I ended up looking for everything, and then I had like 50
We're
documents.
gonna click add documents. And there's our documents.
Lisa,
Mhm.
you also are gonna need, I mean, it's on the actual KW listing forms and those templates, but I always just have to add, I just have to know to add it to the buyer forms. But it's the questions and answers on the home inspections. Because
Okay.
buyers are gonna need that as well. And I made my buyers each time.
Okay.
Just so they know they went over.
All right, so let's go back to add form, and let's add a couple of those things we're talking about.
If you go to listing forms, just real quick.
It's in here.
Yeah, it's in the listing side, it's just not in the buyer side, which is questions and answers on home inspections. I just go and add it to whatever buyer one I'm working with.
Okay.
Because you can add it from anything, I just know it's not in the buyer form template, so I just add it.
So that's something I should add to the buyer.
Yes, if you could, because it's really good for the buyers to have
All right,
that.
so let's, go ahead and add that. Now, I'm also gonna go back and to templates, because I want you guys to see what these look like in here.
That's the one I downloaded.
The offer to purchase and contract.
I downloaded like every form that is in it.
These are the guidelines for completing the form. This is a vacant lot. And then those guidelines for completing a vacant lot. If you ever needed a backup contract with it, then that's there. Contingent sale event, then that's there. Now, these are in the same exact order of that North Carolina real estate list that I gave you. Okay, you guys think of something that is not in the buyer form that maybe you might need? We said professional services, right, Tammy?
I know it would be a really good one.
And that one is,
Let's see, what number? Do you want the number?
Well, not the number.
Professional services.
Let's see, completing contract.
If you just type under start professional
Yeah.
services, it'll come right up. It's 585 under commercial
Okay, good.
contract.
So we could, if we knew the number.
It's 760, that one's gonna pop up with that logo on the top. The one, I think maybe without the logo is gonna be under miscellaneous, which is 760.
Okay, there it is, right there. And then you also have the guidelines for completing it. Right there, right?
So it's in all that.
Now we can go in, and since we've already edited the details,
The acknowledgement of receipt of monies would be another good one. I think they're adding due diligence in the contract soon, so that should change, but I know if you wanna get your due diligence, money receipt, that's another good one to
What's it
add.
called?
Acknowledgement of receipt of monies, because the offer to purchase only has the earnest money for you to sign for.
Acknowledgement of,
Receipt of monies, that's gonna have your due diligence on there.
now, remember when I went in and edited the details, we were working with the buyer. I did not put in the seller or the listing agent. You could go back and edit your details, and then when you did that, these forms would pre-populate with that information here. You kind of got in late, Bowen, but do you see those 4 steps up there? If you go by those 4 steps every time you do a loop, it will be much smoother. First thing you want to do is name your loop, add people, edit details, and then in edit details is where you would submit your green sheet to. And then 4 is when you add the forms. Okay, so we're going to hit skip right here. Now this is where I'm with you guys, because I did not do this on dot loop.
and that would be really good to have on the buyer side, because when I downloaded the buyer thing and it wasn't there, I didn't know to do it.
Okay. Well, I will definitely add it. Is someone keeping suggestions for me? Okay. So, the buyer's agent fills this out, correct?
Yes.
And then you would put here, if you want your seller to, I don't know, where do you tell your agent to sign, your buyer to sign this stuff out?
It should.
Do they just know that they have to waive it or select it? Okay.
And you just open it up, to
Okay.
them. Yeah,
You would fill in the service group. Okay.
I usually fill it in, or you can leave it open for them. In .lit, you can either say sign only, or that they have to, they can edit the document, so you may want to leave it open for them if you haven't decided, or if you check, you say, hey, check into your insurance. And you can leave that one open for them to
So
fill in.
they pick out the attorney. They pick out.
But you would actually order that. So I would fill in, Jones Law Firm, and then who orders agent. Home inspection, you're gonna get that set up for them too, typically. So you could say dependable home inspectors, who orders agent. Home warranty, Old Republic, who orders agent. Of course, the loan, that's gonna be something that they're gonna be heavily involved in. So I would say, movement mortgage, buyer, who orders buyer.
So if you,
And that way you're on the same page.
so like I've already done it, and I didn't, and it wasn't in the form, so I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
So I've already done it. Like, would you go back and do it after you've already done your contract and everything's done? Or would you just do it next time?
Are you within your due diligence period?
Yeah.
You may just want to say, hey, I want to be clear that we, that everything's done that needs to be done.
Okay.
you know, if you just want to be clear, it's a good way to have that documentation.
Okay.
So I would say it's not too late, no.
Okay. But had I been past it, I would just,
Okay, let's.
since I didn't know, I just do it next time.
That's good to have as a guideline for you too.
Oh, yeah, because like Tina and I, we don't know. You know, unless somebody tells us, we have no clue.
And I've added in there too, like if you need a full inspection or an HVAC inspection, you just add it to the bottom. There's, I think, 2 extra lines.
I mean, I thought Lisa's gonna add it to that list, then that would be extremely helpful.
Right, yeah.
So should everything on the list be filled out? Like
So I should be able to pull it up
something in there?
later today.
All right, so let's.
You talking about the name and service providers?
Like accountant, CPA, tax advisor.
If they don't want it, you can say, or if they've waived it, just put an NA in there.
Okay.
No, not necessarily.
So they check it and then you fill in the name, or you fill in the name and then they check?
Let's do this one right here.
You might just want to have a conversation with them first
Before,
and go through them and then fill them in for them.
okay, whatever ones they want to use, okay.
And then have them just sign so that you'll have a document as to what they'd like to have done for your file.
Okay.
You just didn't.
No, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna go ahead and add mine.
And they say, well, we'll need a test inspection. You're like, well, you waived it right here. You know, that's what I'm,
Right.
that was my understanding. It's just,
I
it's
think
good
that's
to
it,
have
I just
information for you.
stayed in the fire.
So talk with
So
them.
have the conversation, fill it out, get them to sign it, and then if they change something, just say, I have it available.
When I just assigned, my seller and my buyer. Okay, so if I go here and click autofill from loop details, because we did all those details. See how it's got everything pre-done for you. Well, not everything, but most of it that it could from our edit details. Okay?
Did you have in there working with real estate, in the buyer's thing, didn't have working with inspectors?
Working with inspectors.
Yeah, because I was told I was supposed to give them a pamphlet working with inspectors. Is that correct?
Question and answers on home inspections. I
Was
think
that on the
Corey
bottom?
did, and then come back to you. Okay, I think it was.
Okay, so as you can see, it completed mostly everything it could from our details. If you do those details, it will really save you a lot of time when you're filling out your forms. Okay, and as you guys know, it's going to go through every single page, and you guys got to fill in all the blanks. All right, let's move on, and let's just say that we've done all of our forms.
Okay, so Lisa, the only ones that we would need to add would be the professional services guidelines and the acknowledgement of receipt for due diligence, from what you already have in there, is that correct?
Yeah, and I would say too, Julie, I mean, there may be some that you may use that are not in that,
Well, what would be your suggestion, because I'm coming from a place that I don't know.
it just depends on the situation. So it's gonna come with experience.
Okay.
So we just put the basics in that body loop, but sometimes you might have a contingency. You
Oh,
might
that I
have,
understand, like,
You know,
that part I meant, but I mean, just generic, everybody, that you want me to give you.
that's in that form that I gave you,
Okay,
that the buyer checklist.
okay. So everything in the buyer checklist is in that list.
No, because we just put the basics in that list.
Okay, so I'm to add them. Okay, got it. I can do that.
Okay. All right, like, let's say we've shared, everything's been signed. This is the one step that everybody in this office is forgetting to do. All right. Right now, we're going to change the status to what? Under contract, right? We are also going to submit for review. Once we have all of our forms in there, and we've got our folder set up the way that the broker in charge wants them set up, you are going to submit your folders to the broker for review. So she knows.
I didn't know either.
So she knows that she needs to check this file because it's going to close soon.
Okay, I physically brought it in
Okay.
and showed it to her.
So everybody is forgetting to do this except for people.
But it might be-
I'm here.
But it might be that they don't know, like, I
This
decided.
folder is gonna be a bind folder. Or why are you submitting for review?
So do you submit that once you get everything ratified or close to it?
Contract.
When do you submit that?
When do you submit this? When you've got all your forms that you need.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and before, you need to give her at least a week to review it before it goes to closing.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So like, I didn't understand to do that, so I physically brought in all my
And I'm-
forms, sat down with her and had a review.
I'm not actually gonna hit submit, you guys, but that is what you wanna do.
Okay, can you show me that one more time where did you go again?
Right
So
there.
you got all your forms in there, they're all signed, they're ready to go, you're under contract, you go to submit for review.
Right. Now, the other thing you wanna do, let's say, I wanna add a new folder.
Why would you do that?
A lot of agents are saving emails that they're having between the buyer, or they're receiving emails they're having with the co-listing agent. You know, just documents that to protect you if you ever have any questions about anything. You can save it all in here. So you could add new folder, and I'm going to call this one closing docs. Okay? Because once this closes, I have to upload my HUD in here. So we're going to hit
That be an email, because you said they're like adding emails? Or is it adding from? Or like if it's from on your personal computer? Is that what that
right. Once I create this folder, I can either add it from my computer, documents from my computer that I've seen on my computer. I can add it to the templates, or I can go click on email, and I don't really know how to do this part, but we will have a more detailed class on this kind of stuff. You can add it from your emails right there.
Okay.
Okay?
So good.
But right now, I'm not going to add any documents to it, but I've got a new folder. That's how you create a new folder.
That's after
Okay.
those.
Or you
That
can add
might be
it, you can
during
add it,
process.
you can add it at any point.
Oh, okay.
But Judy wants to see this folder right here, which will. Sorry. I'm going to rename the folder.
Can I, add one thing too? I think that, can you show them how to, organize the files in there? Because I
Yeah.
think she would prefer that they be in the order of
Okay.
this,
First, we're going to rename our folder right here, okay? Right now, it just says folder. We're going to put okay. Okay. Right. Now, if you want to switch this around in the order Judy wants it, all I do is just take it, drag it up. Take it, drag it up.
we should be doing the
You
address.
see that? Do you see how easy that is?
Yeah.
If you don't have it, then just name it the buyer. And so you get the address and then you can read the questions.
Trying to think. What she likes to see is when you first start, these two little documents right here would have been the first two you would have had when you were working with your buyer.
Right.
So that might actually be in a different folder. And these would come along later once there's a contract.
Okay.
So we'll call this. Oh, okay. And if you had created the loop and didn't know what your buyer was going to buy the first time, that would, those two folders right here would be in your buying folder. Okay?
Okay.
All right. You guys have any questions? As you can see, there's like all these little buttons over here. You can rename, duplicate, you can archive folders, you can archive. Like if I wanted to just archive, if I picked the wrong form, and I wanted to archive it, you don't click this one because that archives your whole folder. You would click right here under your form. I have a question. Just see, you can rename it, you can copy it, print it, download it, you can archive it.
So say, for example, since I didn't really know what I needed, and now I'm sort of getting lists of it, and I downloaded everything, I don't want all those things in there. How do I make them go away?
This is right here, Julie.
Okay.
Like, if this is the one you wanted to archive, you click this little down arrow right here.
So if I would archive
And
the
you would
ones I
click
don't.
archive. Now watch what happens. It's gone.
Okay, because
Okay?
that's my $5 question.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's it.
'Cause
So
mine
don't
says-
remember, not here. See how this is under the folder?
Uh-huh.
You want to click right here where your form is. Just follow the
And then I'm
lines.
gonna archive it if
You
I
want to click right here.
mistakenly put it there because I didn't know it.
You can even rename it. You can, all those things you can do right there.
Okay.
Okay?
That's great.
All right. All right, that concludes our class for today. Anyone have any questions? No?
I get it much better now. I
Okay.
think it would be really helpful, like if somebody was brand new and they hadn't done anything for, like I hadn't done it in 5 years, or I don't know if you've written your first contract yet. Like before their contract, if they like knew how to write their contract, that might be helpful. So,
That's something they would do with the broker in charge.
so like when you're new, you're supposed to sit down with the broker in charge and they go through it with you?
Yeah.
Okay, that part I didn't get.
Not me, because I'm the MCA. I don't have a real estate license. But I would definitely be the one to help you with your.
So
On
when
the
you
accounting side.
So what I didn't know, so when I was the new person that came in, I should have gone into my broker and said, okay, I need you to go over the contracts with me and have an orientation. I just didn't know. Okay, now I would know. Okay.
Okay, it could be
Your
another
mentor would be glad to help you.
Yeah, it could be another agent in the office that could sit down with you.
Belinda helped me, she can start.
Okay, see now Melinda was,
And then I got help.
and there's just 8 other agents in the office.
Like Lori Sampson's been really great. I
Uh-huh.
mean, she's really helped me a lot. She didn't have to, but she did. So, but I just wanted to know where, like I'm bringing somebody into this market center. So I want to know where they're, so if they're brand new and they know nothing, your suggestion would be that I have them sit down with the broker.
If it has something to do with filling out forms and contracts, broker in charge.
Okay.
Now, technology issues, that's something different.
And who would I have them go for today?
We really don't have a technology person assigned to our office, but we could, if we ever have a need, we could get Julie, I forget her name, Susan Broughton from Newbern. She's really good with technology. We have a need for a bunch of new agents that need technology. We could bring her into the market center and have a one-on-one with 3 or 4 people.
Mhm.
She's awesome.
And I think
She's
that's the
the one-
reason for Ignite too. Ignite is to bring any new agent up to speed with what.
Oh, Ignite has been tremendous.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, I know because of just the office being so small, you can't do it all the time. But yeah,
There's so much, there's all the technology with Keller Williams that you've got to learn.
Right.
Then there's the MLS stuff that you have to learn. Then there's the contract side that you have to learn.
Takes a lot of
There's a lot.
time.
There's a lot.
sure.
And I'm still learning, everybody's
It's
still learning.
as you go along, you learn.
I learned something new today.
All right.
I did too, a couple things.
Well, like say we wanted, like Tina and I are really big on technology, or I don't want to say that for you, Tina, but that's been our discussion. It's not our strong suit.
Uh-huh.
So like if we wanted that person, who would we ask to maybe have
You would-
that person?
Come to me
Come to
or the team leader and just express your
Desires, and then she might be able to work something out.
And especially if we have for just one person, it's kind of hard to bring Susan in for one person.
Yeah,
If there's
it's like I
3
know
or 4 people
Yeah,
that
person's
can
coming
meet at the
in.
same time, it would be very good for us
Yeah,
to bring
because there would
Susan
be-
in.
Yeah.
She can help you with websites, so many different things.
Yeah, so there would be Tina and I, would we be enough to,
And
But I want to be,
okay, so you have 3 people here that don't know, so.
and I think Heather and Lori would benefit.
And
from
have
that.
that more too, yeah.
So I talked to Jennifer and I asked her.
Yes, yes.
And what is this person's name?
Susan Broughton, we brought her into the office before, but
Okay,
we can do
but
it
there's
there.
like 5 people that would be able to be, that would be a
We
good
would just,
chance.
we would just find a time and get with her and see when she could come in. Yeah.
I'm gonna be gone to the 10th of July or things after that.
All right,
After
thanks,
the
guys.
Thank you, Lisa.
I want to see my son, just see my son.
Well, I appreciate like knowing where to ask for the resources, because I understand you can't do everything for everybody all the time. And that's certainly not your job. And I really appreciate your time today.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're
Lisa.
welcome, but those steps right there, that's like the Bible, you guys need to keep that. And remember, those are the 4 steps for starting. Okay?
Thank you so much for your time.
That was good. You're right.
I am like,
Wait, Reggie.
Awesome.
Mayor's image.
I have no, asked like who, and they just said look it up. So, I go, who do we get it from? And they go,
Listen, I'm gonna,
so I've got
It
it.
does. She just has to go.
Yeah,
Yeah, I have silver. Yeah, I was gonna get a blinky lens, but I'm gonna wait till.
tomorrow morning. But,
Yeah, you don't want the
Belinda,
blinky,
will
but I
be
like the
on
top.
my contract.
That's a good point.
Order right now.
Okay, so do you want me to help you with your green sheets?
You're
So I'm
trying to-
I'm gonna try to get some of this stuff.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it now, I'm doing it now, so,
I'm gonna be on my, MCA college. It's
It's
probably on the last week of.
you know, it's just gonna be, I'll be here.
Okay.
well, they're very excited, they're not very excited, but I'll have, I don't need to get it done, so that's still,
Very interesting.
but,
And I understand that you can't do everything all the time.
Thank
I
you.
really get that. But when somebody's brand new and they have absolutely no frame of reference, it's sort of throwing them as sharks.
Right.
Because they have nothing.
I think having Jennifer in place is gonna be really helpful too, though.
Okay.
Because
so I'm
she's
gonna
gonna
talk
be,
to her.
yeah,
Okay.
great.
right,
You doing all right?
after the 10th, yes. I'm leaving to go see my son, he just came out of coma,
So does the 11th work for you? What date works for you?
Any date after the 10th.
Okay.
I'll be back on the 10th of July.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ask for him,
Oh, okay,
because like I really need her.
okay, he lives in Seattle, he's not married. And, he's been in coma for 3 weeks, he just came out Thursday. Yeah, my daughter was there, she flew there, and she had been with him ever since then. So I'm going out now to, they get ready to transfer him to a rehabilitation center.
Did he have an accident?
He fell and it hit his head, but somebody said it was attack, so we don't know all the details, they investigated.
Okay.
So it was set up or something, you know, because he had his own business and he's divorced and just went through a whole bunch of mess. So we don't know, but
Oh, my
they checked it out.
Okay.
But then God is coming down.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because he had, what happened was he had seizures and they had to put him in a seduced coma. Because every time that they tried to bring him out or something, he would have a bad seizure.
Oh, wow.
So far, praise God, he's been okay, you know.
Good.
Just can't
We'll
walk
be
right.
thinking about you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure it's gonna
but
take
it's
some
gonna be
time.
hard. It's gonna take some time, they said it, but, yeah.
I'm looking for Jennifer.
So, but Belinda will be handling anything. I'll be still watching the next 2 days on my computer like I did yesterday for this and give me a chance to do my catch up and my database. When I come back, it'll be finished. Look, because when you sit in the hospital room, what else you gonna do? You know?
Give you some time to focus.
In a hotel, you know, what else you gonna do? So
Awesome.
I'll be there. Yeah.
Good deal.
If you
We'll
don't
we'll
see
be
me,
thinking
that's fine.
about you.
Thank
Let
you.
us know if you need anything.
Okay, yeah. Just prayers.
We'll do it.
Thank you.
But, next week,
Don't
I guess I'll
leave.
get up to you
Okay.
about, my office and her things and all the things. I guess I'm doing this weekend, take pictures, try to get all the information from the tax information, so like the main things I need.
And I do have the sketch ready for you.
And this one's in-
Three appraisals of the property will appraise easily.
Um,
So I'll bring those with me.
recently,
And what date would you
pretty
like
big.
to meet?
Maybe it's like some kind of
I will drop, if you give me like,
Wouldn't
you
surprise
want me to run by my house and get a sketch and, or you want me to email those two and just reference.
There's always something bad happening.
Yeah,
Cause I was gonna go ahead this weekend.
covenants, tax forward,
Yeah.
utilities might.
Yeah, I'll be glad. Totally fine, 100% fine, and so what we can do is I'll grab the property right now, and then I can scan and email you the sketch, that way you don't have to do a sketch, because I got a refi a couple of years ago. So the sketch is fully done for you, and we'll appraise in a heartbeat, we're really good
A lot of
parameters.
Mhm.
And that will make your life easier. So I will physically leave my unmarked sketch.
No.
Because I've never seen a house that has.
Oh, don't be sorry, I'm happy to be there, my pleasure.
Is Ospey one of the cities that you can select in our MLS? You can get it out there. If somebody were to search for, I would do that just to kind of see what happens, like do a search or with Google search, Ospey, North
Well,
Carolina.
it comes up on like that realtor.com, so
Does
it'll
it?
come up. But,
And it'll be out there, it'll be all over the site, so, I mean, if you put it in our AWS and all that.
right, and I think that, that maybe someone that doesn't live there would want to get it as, a little like weekend river place, because it's on the river, so,
Cool.
just like y'all drive to the lake, someone will drive to the river.
Yeah, that'd be good, just,
So
and then
maybe
whenever
that's
she
it.
wants to sell it for, and I'll help you get it all.
Okay, well, I'll go this weekend, I'm gonna try to get some pictures.
Would it be residential or commercial?
It's residential.
Residential.
It's in like a little like subdivision.
So we'll need to know, like, what can you put on there, whether it's mobile home or only stick build, and, how many square
I think
feet.
it's on the stick build, but.
Yeah, all that stuff you'll
I
want to
know
get
that
in
has been challenged in court. There's rulings that are saying that, that a modular is just as nice as a stick built, and they can't really,
Right.
there's been like court rulings that where it said stick built and people put modular, and they try to sue them, the judge overturned it.
Right.
You learned all that in state class.
It's been a long time.
It's been, I had a couple of those when
Mhm.
back when I was doing it here. And they really want to praise. It's just not gonna praise the same, even
Or
though
like a modular.
a modular will not appraise.
Like even if it's like the
Doesn't
one that
matter.
they bring in sections, like not like a trailer,
No,
but
it
like.
doesn't matter. I had it happen 2 or 3 times. The modular will not appraise like a regular stick built.
Really?
They're just not gonna do it. So you have to, when you're doing your listing presentation, unless it's changed dramatically in the 2 or 3 that I did, because I lived in 09, unless something has changed dramatically since 09, they did not, prior to 09,
Mhm.
because I had issues with it.
Okay.
Really quick, just when I gotta go, because I'm doing an appraisal,
Mhm.
but the house, and I've met with the people over on Windsor Downs that we're gonna do together. It's up on the 21st. We've talked about where it really should be. I've given them a list. They're doing painting, they're doing stuff that they need to do. I was gonna try to get the pictures in the virtual tour I had, because I had my house in yesterday, but she wasn't ready. But, so the
Who are you
grand,
using for your pictures?
it was Ryan's last day.
Okay.
So he did mine yesterday, so mine's going up as soon as I have Valerie's repairs done and my. So anyway, I've met with them several times. They're definitely rock hardy, friendly. Yeah. Told them to you. And so that's where we're at.
Okay.
So see you later.
Awesome. Thanks, Julie. See you later.
So that's all I really, I guess, need to, all the information I need to get, go ahead and do the,
Yeah, just get anything that's attached to the land, like any of those covenants and documents that are recorded, that are tied to that land, that's what we would need. And yeah, utilities and, what was your other thing, lot dimensions? Yeah, if they've got a survey or anything like
yeah,
that,
my
that would
mom had
be
an
good.
appraisal done, like, I would say maybe like 3 years ago, so that should
And then
have
I'll have it on there.
dimensions, yeah.
Yeah, that should be good, and then really a price and some pictures. If I get some good pictures, maybe some sunset pictures, whatever you
Right.
think would sell it. And then we'll sit down together and, drop the listing agreement, I'll help you put it in MLS.
I was thinking about like taking pictures, like actually looking up the lot, like from the road, and then getting someone to take me out on the boat and take it from the river too. Cause it's like, like a lot of stuff around the river around here is like flat, like my mom's house, like high up on like a hill cliff thing. It's like, like higher than this like room, so it's like way up high.
Cool.
Like really old people, to be honest with it.
Yeah.
You know, school, because, you know, most of the stuff on River Home is like, right, you know, above the river, you know, it's not like really high like that.
Right. Cool.
Yeah. So I guess that would be my first listing.
Yay! Awesome. Okay. Yep. I'm gonna be on vacation next week, but the week after.
Okay.
So,
Where are you
we can
going?
have it here in this week or next week, or if not, I'll have to go over it with you on the phone.
Well, I'm thinking maybe I can go this weekend, maybe we could do it first thing next week. So I'm leaving, I think, go to the beach Thursday to Sunday next week.
Okay, cool. I'm going to the lake.
Nice.
We're gonna go to Kingston on Monday. And,
That'll be fun.
I mean,
You'd rather go there than the Gardens?
well, we always go to Busch Gardens,
Okay.
and we were talking to like some other people that want to go with us, and they have a water park and thorough like all the roller coasters and stuff there, and everybody just kind of wanted to do something a little bit different, and somebody said the rides were better.
I don't know, like, I haven't been in a while, but like, a lot of Kings Dominion roller coasters, they have more than Busch Gardens, but some of them really old, like the wooden ones, which are
I know.
scary.
Well, that's what they said they liked.
And a lot of the
I
Kings
agree.
Dominion ones are like so like jerky, like they snatch your head all around. Where Busch Gardens, I feel like, are more like smooth,
Right.
you know? You'll see.
I haven't been a long time, and that's what I told somebody else. I was like, I just don't like to ride for my kid.
Well, a lot of them there, it goes all. Like, do you remember that ride that they shut down at Busch Gardens because like people were getting hurt of that dragon fire? Do you remember that? When they shut it down, like it reminds me of that the way. Like,
I remember. I did not like that.
Yeah. Well, some of them.
I like state water park.
You know, I mean, just try something out. I mean, I would definitely feel like the snatching
I
around.
like roller coasters, but yeah, I
I
don't
like the smooth ones, but just don't ride in the wooden ones because they're really scary.
Good to know, good to know.
we'll make sure that this is, okay, everything's shut down, so.
We probably should do something. if we want to. This work all right? Did this work? good?
It just fine.
Well, we probably should do something for that.
Right.
What that is. Let me see it.
Yeah. So I'll catch her after and maybe I'll just look them up and see you're going to be up there. Or you're going to be here adjusting chairs again.
Funny about this, sorry.
This was still open, I mean, they were still in here when I left, so. So what do you want to do for him?
I'm gonna kind of, I don't know if we want to just give him
He capped yesterday, did you see that?
I did get him a gift certificate for like, one that goes to multiple restaurants, you know, like the Garden Group or he needs that Red Lobster or whatever.
Okay.
Give him
Okay. He's coming tomorrow.
What do you think?
That's fine, I mean, I don't think that's bad. They have, we should just grab a few of those and just kind of have them hanging.
We could do something for help him too.
Yes. He's working.
I see, I feel so much time. Okay.
Okay, so you tell me, and I'm gonna get, she's what she has, because I actually did on the chairs, and she's gonna do the other ones too. And I'll have her try and get her this one too. Just, she said that she does. So, I was thinking, I'm just gonna she does. Because I mean, if I can buy a local, I'm not local, so it'd be easier to get something
Right.
like that for him, but if I can buy a local,
Anyway, something to consider. I want to thank him for,
Yeah.
he's going out of his way, you know, but
yeah, he's doing it hard.
this is not shit.
Is the,
Yeah, he's going out to Jackson, and I told him I'll go there. Of course, I think he enjoys it.
well, Sheila's got teach how to make that.
As far as this goes. It's a challenge. This open.
Yes, it's still